Are you exercising an obsession? Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the star of your own life. Today I want to talk a little bit about all things exercise, really. Exercise, obsession, motivation, and finding the best workout routine for you. I actually find people fall into one of two categories. They either love exercise or they hate exercise. They can get super into workouts and fitness to the point where it overruns their whole life and it turns into an obsession. Or people have a really hard time getting motivated to get up off their butts and actually exercise. It's really easy to just sort of like put it off and not do it at all. And I kind of find like people tend to fall into one of those two categories. I for sure am in the first category. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, but you're not super skinny. How could you possibly have an exercise obsession? That can come in all shapes and sizes because exercise alone does not determine your body size and shape. I'm actually in this video going to get into a little bit of like my exercise history, which some of you may or may not relate to. You might relate to some of it or maybe even all of it. And then get into a little bit about exercise obsession and motivation. And then a few tips on how to find the best workout routine for you. So there probably will be a little something for everyone in this video when it comes to exercise and fitness and things like that. I have had a lot of requests from people on how I healed my food noise. I'm going to do a video about that. I'm going to work on that. But part of my binge eating and healing my food noise was actually also tied to my exercise obsession. So I want to get into that a little bit and how I healed from that. I also want to state that I have heard some people refer to exercise obsession and exercise addiction interchangeably. I'm going to try to use the word exercise obsession as opposed to addiction. I don't love referring to something like exercise or even food as an addiction. I have videos on my channel talking about addiction issues and things like that, and I think addiction is one of the biggest issues we have in our society today. There's so many things that aren't just drugs and alcohol that people have as an addiction that are really, really negatively affecting everybody in society, either the person who is actually addicted or, you know, people around them in their lives. And I used to refer to like my binging and things like that as food addiction and stuff, and I've kind of moved away from doing that because I just don't like referring to things that are actually healthy for you as an addiction. So something like exercise, it's good for you. Can you take it too far and have it very much seem like an addiction or kind of become addicted to it in some way? Yes, but exercise is still good for you. And if you just don't do anything exercise-wise the rest of your life, it's going to negatively affect your health. The same thing with food. Like when you refer to food as an addiction, it's kind of a slippery slope because you literally can't live without food. Like you have to eat in order to survive. Whereas like you could never have alcohol again, you know, ever a day in your life and you would be fine. I've never done heroin and I'm probably better off for it. So I don't like referring to things that are actually necessary for you as an addiction. I think you can get an obsession, you can have a very unhealthy relationship with it. However, I'm gonna try to refrain from using the words addiction. If I ever do, it's probably just for like search engine optimization and stuff like that. I'm gonna refer to what I was dealing with as an exercise obsession. So I'm gonna get a little bit into my background first because I do know there's gonna be people, I get people all the time that come to my content like go to the gym and this and that. Like I have stuck to every workout program I have ever tried. So people that are like, if you're overweight, you're undisciplined, it's ridiculous. Like I am one of the most disciplined people in the world, and especially when it comes to exercise because I love exercising. I love working out, I really do. Sometimes I've loved it too much. My background, I never played sports. I hated gym class growing up. I was a bigger kid when I was younger, so like running and stuff was not easy for me, partly because I was heavier, partly because they didn't make sports bras that were very functional when I was younger, and I've always had something going on. So like gym class and stuff was a real struggle for me because I wasn't super active when I was young. Now I wasn't like very sedentary. I just wasn't really like running and jumping and hyperactive and stuff like that as a kid. So, like I hated gym class. I was terrible at actually like running and stuff. I would get really out of breath. I probably had some kind of asthma or something. So gym class was like terrible for me as a kid. Traumatizing because gym teachers would be really mean about it. I started to work out more on my own at home. I actually, when I was a kid, I desperately wanted to take dance classes. I had this absolute obsession with taking dance classes, and I was never allowed to when I was a kid. I think because like my mother like didn't know anything about that world, and she, you know, had heard stories about, you know, dance teachers that, you know, would end up pressuring girls into eating disorders and things like that. And my weight was already kind of a problem as a kid, so I think my mother was afraid that sending me to dance classes would make that worse. And, you know, it just wasn't a world that she was familiar with, so she just would not put me in dance classes. I was so obsessed with taking them, and I'm aging myself so much when I say this, but I actually used to get like VHS tapes that I would like order through like mail order catalogs, because this is before the internet, people. Yes, I'm that old. So I would get these like dance classes, and I would just like, you know, teach myself like tap, jazz, ballet, that kind of stuff. And then as I got a little bit older, I would actually use my VHS recorder. Some of you kids may have to Google what that is. I would like use that to record music videos like on MTV, and then try to like teach myself the choreography in the music videos. Janet Jackson was definitely a favorite. I so desperately wanted to dance. I just wanted to dance. And like I ended up kind of becoming like a drama nerd in high school and stuff. So I did end up taking a dance class in high school. My high school actually offered, it was just for a couple years while I was there, and I'm really grateful they did, like a dance program instead of taking gym class, which was really more of a movement class. You didn't really get into like a lot of dance steps, but it was kind of a movement class. And then I got into drama, and I was in musical theater, so I was still trying to teach myself, but I also, you know, I had to learn some of basic dance moves just for like musical theater purposes. In that process as well, I also discovered, again, they were all in VHS, but I would do like, a lot of celebrities were coming out with workout tapes at that point. It was the 90s. I mean, there were a lot from the 80s, but I think in the 90s and stuff, a lot of celebrities would come out with workout tapes, so I would do those. My favorite in high school actually was Jenny Garth. She had a really fun workout tape that I remember doing like a lot in high school. And then Cindy Crawford's came out. I don't remember when that one came out, but I did Cindy Crawford's too. Again, I'm totally aging myself with this. My mom got one from Dixie Carter. If any of you remember her from Designing Women, my mom got it, and then she kind of wasn't using it. It was like a yoga stretch kind of thing, and I did that all through high school. Like, and it wasn't really necessarily like a workout, but it was like a yoga and meditation thing. It was actually like way ahead of its time, and it was so fun. I used to do that like after school, like every day. I loved that. So I got super into doing at-home workouts, like even back in high school. Again, I was like teaching myself dance classes and stuff at home. So that was my version of like working out when I was younger. I didn't do sports or anything. It wasn't my thing. I kind of avoid anything that involves social interaction with people, although I was in drama, so that was social interaction. But so I like to think I've had an affinity for dance and movement since I was young. When I got to be about 19, I just got obsessed with the idea of like, you know what, I'm an adult now, I can sign up for a dance class if I want to. So I wanted to take like a hip hop dance class, super trendy at the time. This is like the late 90s. And so I found like one studio at the time. Hip hop classes were not as common, and especially like adult classes, more of them were like for teens. So I found one studio that had like a hip hop dance class. So when I was 19, I signed up for my first official like dance class at a studio. I just like took to it. Like I just absolutely became obsessed with dance. I actually remember like we had to do a recital. My teacher at the dance studio had me help out with some of the kids just at the recital backstage and stuff. And she saw that I was really good with kids. And I remember like one of the other teachers at the studio like pulled me aside and was like our dance teacher, like they're like, she's gonna ask you to be an assistant teacher for the kids classes next year. And I was like, no, she's not. I've literally had like less than a year of dance training. Like there's no way. And she was like, she's gonna ask you. And sure enough, she did. And the next year, I actually signed up for like every dance class possible. Tap, jazz, ballet, I did hip hop and belly dancing. And my teacher at the dance studio did ask me to help out with some of the kids classes. I was kind of learning a little bit along with the kids. Like I would teach the baby classes, so it was literally like heel toe and like, you know, step touch and things like that. Like I was helping out with the kids and like teaching them, but I was also kind of learning myself. So I was literally in the dance studio all the time. At this time period, I was in school. I was in cosmetology school at the time. Then when I graduated from cosmetology school, I was working in a hair salon, so I would kind of do that during the day, and then I would take dance classes in the evening. I would either take or teach, and I would be at the dance studio for sometimes up to 6 hours just dancing. Sometimes it would be one class, sometimes it would be up to 6, but like I would do that like usually about 4 days a week. And in that time period, I also joined a gym. So I was working out at the gym. I was taking as many classes at the gym as possible. school, like kickboxing and stuff like that, and lifting weights. I was working with a trainer. I was doing everything. And bear in mind, this is also in the time period when I was like turning 21, and so I would be going out on the weekends. I'm the type, I don't even know what like clubbing culture is like now, but back in my day when it was the clubbing culture, we're talking like 21, we're talking like early 2000s, it was like a dance party. Like I would show up to the club and I would be dancing non-stop. So like I would be getting a full sweat workout like every Friday and Saturday night. Like, yeah, so I mean, I was so unbelievably active. I also was at one of the biggest weights that I've ever been in my life. So I think that this is an indication, and a big lesson that I've learned is that exercise alone is not gonna make you lose weight. I had a lot of stress going on in my life at that time period because I was doing so many things. For one, I was also trying to figure out my life. I hated working in a hair salon. I ended up going back to college in that time period as well, which, you know, I'm glad I did, but it was also a lot of stress. And you know, I was having, you know, bad relationships and, you know, personal drama in my life, and I had some toxic friendships in that time period too. So there's a lot of stress going on. My diet was crap, although this is the early 2000s, and like most people's diets were crap in that time period, let me be honest. But yeah, it was, my diet was crap, and I was incredibly active, but I was still big. I'm gonna do a video talking about all the diets I've done in my life, and so I'm not gonna really get into my food history or my diet history or anything, but like in that time period, I did end up losing a significant amount of weight. It was not just exercise and physical activity. That's an important factor. Whether or not you gain and lose weight and how your body looks and things like that, diet, nutrition does have a much larger effect on that than fitness ever will. Is fitness important and is being active important for your health? Absolutely. What you put into your body and how you fuel your body actually determines your body size and shape, that along with genetics, much more than exercise and fitness ever will. And that's not to discourage anybody from working out or fitness, and I'm not saying that you can't make changes in your body through exercise and fitness and things like that, but fitness is actually probably like the least important part of how your body looks. So I ended up losing a lot of weight in that time period and was very active. And again, I'm talking like I was at the dance studio 4 days a week for like 1 to 6 hours, depending on the day. I also was going to the gym. I was probably going to the gym at least once a day at some point, whether either to lift or do some kind of exercise class. And I also, I'd say when I was in college, so I was in college, I went back to college when I was like 21 and graduated when I was like 23. So, and my college had a big football field with a track around it. So I would actually like go to class in my workout clothes, which before anybody gets all weird, workout clothes were very different back then. Like I was not walking around in like a lycra bra and like those leggings with like the seam up the butt and whatever. I was dressed in like very normal everyday clothing. It was just clothing that I could go for a walk in. So I would go to class and I would, you know, do my classes in the morning. I would usually go for a walk, then I would go home, get something to eat. I would at some point go to the gym, and in the evenings I would dance for like, again, like 1 to 6 hours. And then on the weekends, I would usually be out like literally dancing nonstop. So again, very active. So I lost a significant amount of weight, which was primarily through diet, but obviously being active helps. It was around that time, I actually moved away from home, not super far, but far enough so that I wasn't still at the same gym and I wasn't going to the same dance studio anymore. I moved closer to the city, and I was always trying to take dance classes in the city because I know there were more options, but dance classes were always so complicated and parking was always such a pain, or like taking the T. You know, I was living in Boston, which Boston is notorious for having like horribly ineffective public transportation. So yeah, I would try to take dance classes over the years when I was living in the city, but it was tricky to actually find classes that like were convenient to get to and everything. But I decided to compete in a beauty pageant because I had lost a significant amount of weight. I'd lost about 70 pounds, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I joined a gym that was actually closer to where I was living, and man, I worked out, I mean, like it was my full-time job. I had started doing stand-up comedy in the evenings. That was my primary job at that time period. Wasn't making much money. My parents were helping me, I will admit. I was working out 4 hours a day, easy. I would usually go to the gym in the morning. Oh my God, more than 4 hours a day. I would go to the gym in the morning, and I didn't actually at this particular gym, I didn't really lift. Lifting weights for women was not a big thing at that point in time. This was like, I want to say this is like 2005 or so, and like weights were not a thing that was getting pushed hardcore for women in that time period. It's mostly about cardio. So I would usually do like 2 kind of like cardio or like cardio strength training, circuit training classes or whatever in the morning. I'd go to the gym and do those. I'd come home, I'd usually go for a walk, like 45 minutes to an hour walk in the afternoon, and then I would usually go back in the evening to 1 or 2 classes at the gym that were, again, some kind of like cardio movement type class. Yeah, so sometimes like 5 hours a day, if you think about it, which is crazy. I had this obsession with getting abs, and I remember reading someplace like that some celebrity somewhere did like 1,000 crunches a day. So I actually started doing 1,000 crunches a day. I actually split it up, like I didn't do it all at once, but I would do like 100 crunches here and 100 crunches there. It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat something, let me do some crunches. Like, I had strong abs, not visible ab muscles, because I've never been thin enough to have visible ab muscles, even with all that, but I had a strong core, let me tell you. That's another really tough lesson that I had to learn, I think, in this whole process, is you can't spot reduce. And you can't fight your genetics. In order for me to ever have like visible ab muscles, my weight has to drop way lower than is safe for me to go. At this point in time, I got to the lowest weight that I think I've ever been, and it's really sick because I want to say like 25 at the time. So this was 20 years ago, and I was obsessed with getting to 120. I wanted to get to 120 because for some reason that number in my mind was like the ideal number, is to get to 120. I'm 5'6", just for reference. I got to 123. I was killing myself. Like, I was barely eating. I was working out, again, 5 hours a day of like some kind of exercise for 5 hours a day. I mean, that's not including like just like my regular everyday, like just movement in life, like doing laundry or cleaning my house or something like that. Like 5 hours of workouts a day. I got to 123 and the scale would not budge, and I felt so defeated. But I also, like, I couldn't sleep because, for one thing, my hunger pains were so bad that I was like crying myself to sleep because I was so hungry. But also, like, I lost so much body fat, like, on the lower half of my body, because I don't carry body fat on like the lower half of my body. Like, I barely do. All of my body fat is like from the waist up, pretty much. So my hip bones were jutting out so much, like I couldn't get comfortable sleeping because there wasn't anything like protecting my hip bones. But like, still had these, and I still didn't have abs, and it was killing me because I just I couldn't get the body that I thought I was supposed to have. I thought I was supposed to have these like ab muscles and like a flat stomach, and like I thought I was hideous if I didn't have that. Like, truly thought I was hideous because I didn't have abs. Looking back on it, it's so sick. So I did the pageant, wore a swimsuit on stage, which is ironic because like I never learned to swim because I refused to wear a swimsuit my whole life because I was so self-conscious about my body. And here I was on stage wearing a swimsuit with people judging me. That was kind of a big thing for me. You know, I didn't advance in the pageant or anything like that or whatever, but like it was, for me, it was like a personal victory. But then after that, I couldn't keep up that pace forever. I mean, that was insane, right? A lot of stuff was going on in my life at that point. Again, I was still dealing with toxic relationships and toxic friendships and things like that and whatever, and, you know, still trying to figure out where I fit in the world. One thing that doesn't really get talked about very much when it comes to exercise and exercise obsession and this push for fitness is like, I mean, unless you're a fitness influencer, which, bear in mind, we're talking like this was 2005 that this was going on in my life. Influencers weren't a thing. Like, it wasn't like that was a thing that people could do. People aren't paying you to work out all the time. And I'm sure that anybody who's like trained for like a fitness competition or something, like, unless you're getting like sponsorship deals from companies, or again, now that we have influencers and stuff, like there are some people that are, you know, making some money off of this stuff. But for a regular person who's this much obsessed with exercise and getting fit and losing weight and stuff, like, nobody's paying you to do this. Other areas of your life get sacrificed. And I'm not using this as an excuse to not exercise, but when it gets to the point where you're exercising so much that like other areas of your life, your career, your relationships, and, you know, just your mental health and stuff is actually taking a hit, that's when you know you've taken things too far. Now, I didn't wake up at this point in time, but I did kind of fall off the wagon a bit, and I actually did not gain a ton of weight back. I just didn't stay as thin as I was. I was still working out regularly. I just wasn't doing it quite as intensely, but I was still active. I was still trying to find dance classes. I was still going to the gym. I was still going for walks. Like, I was still being active. I wasn't quite as strict with my diet and things like that, and so I did put on some weight. I was not overweight, but I was not skinny, so I was beating myself up about it like intensely. And things stayed, I think, like pretty steady for a while. But then my life kind of fell apart and a lot of stuff started happening. I won't get into all the drama because it's just way more than needs to be talked about in a video, but I was dealing with some mental health struggles and things like that, family issues and whatever, and complicated relationships, career struggles, like it just, everything. It kind of felt like a perfect storm. And I turned to fitness again and I got really obsessed with it again. Some of it was I got engaged and was planning a wedding. Some of that was like this intense, like I need to work out to get ready for a wedding because I think that's kind of what you do. That's what society makes it seem like you should do. I remember actually having a conversation with my wedding photographers and I asked them, they were husband and wife couple, really cool, loved them. And I asked them something about like their wedding photos and they said that they refused to look at their wedding photos because they were both very overweight in their wedding photos and they had lost weight and they did not want to look at themselves at their heavier weight, so they would not look at their wedding photos. And I remember thinking like that, I thought that was so sad, and I was like, oh my god, I never want to look back on my wedding photos and think like that I don't want to look at them because I don't like how I looked in them. I was at a completely normal healthy weight when I got married. Was not underweight, was not overweight. I was a completely normal healthy weight. However, I carry all my weight in my upper body. I'm very top heavy. I wore a strapless dress, had a corset. It gave me a nice hourglass figure, but my corset was pulled tight. Stuff's gotta go somewhere when you got a corset on, right? So when I looked at my wedding photos, all I saw was like back fat. And I remember thinking like, oh my god, I don't wanna show anybody these photos because all I see is my back fat. And it's really heartbreaking to me to think that like, here I am in this wedding dress and everything was supposed to be beautiful. Granted, the marriage didn't last, so I didn't have to look at the wedding photos for very long, but it was really just heartbreaking to me that like my goal was to feel beautiful in my wedding dress, and then there I was looking at my wedding photos and being like, all I see is back fat. And you know what, honestly, like I'm always gonna have back fat because this is just where I carry my weight. When you have real boobs, you have back fat. I could go off about that and I won't even go into that. I could make a whole other video talking about that and plastic surgery distinctions and things like that, so I won't get into that. But that instance, plus the fact that I had just gotten into a marriage that wasn't working, my marriage only lasted a year and a half. I had a lot of family crises going on at that time, and I was in a bad marriage. I was changing careers at that point. Like, so many things were going on in my life that were just beyond my control, and I just was in a panic. So I threw myself into fitness again in my life. And I don't want to say I regret it because I think it was what I needed to do at the time, and I was doing what I thought was the right thing at the time. However, in hindsight, not the healthiest thing. I used fitness as a distraction for me because there were so many things in my life that I couldn't control, but I could control my workouts. And also too, it kind of felt like people in my life that expected a lot from me would kind of let me work out. So like, if I was like, I'm doing a workout, people wouldn't bother me. All the rest of the time in my life, people were bothering me because people kept needing things from me. So it kind of felt like, okay, if I'm going off and doing a workout by myself, that was like me time, and I needed that me time. Where like, I for some reason, and I don't know why this is, maybe it's because I've always struggled with my weight and because people thought that I needed to work out or something. It just seemed like my workouts were the one time when people wouldn't bother me, or it was like a good excuse to like tune out the rest of the world, whereas the rest of my life felt so chaotic. So I got back into doing my workouts, and I was just, not only was I getting into lifting and I was working out pretty intensely, lifting weights and things like that, and really getting into strength training. I was doing fitness programs and, you know, online fitness programs. I was doing some fitness challenges and things like that, which were fun and I don't regret them at all. But I definitely did start letting them overtake my life and got obsessed with like, oh, well, if I do this much, then I get these changes. So if I do more, I'll get more changes. And it started to get to an obsession again, where I started working out 4 times a day, and it's so crazy to me. I would lift, and I'd lift heavy in the morning, then before lunchtime I would do like an hour on the treadmill, running and walking, like kind of circuit training kind of thing. And then before dinner, I would do another hour on the treadmill, running and walking. And then in the evening, before I go to bed, I would do some kind of like yoga thing. Sometimes it was just stretching yoga, but sometimes it was a pretty intense yoga session. So yeah, 4 times a day. How did you make money in that time period? How did you do that and work? Didn't really. Yeah, I got pretty broke in that time period. Yeah, a lot of stuff in my life was falling apart in that time. My marriage was falling apart, not because because of this, mind you, I was dealing with parents who were both having major health crises at that time period, so I was becoming a caregiver. My workouts were a way of me taking control over something because so much of my life was out of my control. Also, for me, my workouts were therapy a lot of the time. I felt like I had to be the strong one in every situation in my family, in my life. Like, I felt like the world was burdening me with their problems. And so for me, lifting weights became, okay, I have to be the strong one, so I have to work out. Like, I have to get stronger because everyone's expecting me to be the strong one. I also feel like when my marriage was falling apart, I used like my twice a day hour-long cardio sessions as kind of a movement therapy. Like, I would literally put on like sad music and I would like run and I would sweat and I would cry. In a way, yes, it was therapeutic. In a way, it was something I think I needed to do to like release a lot of emotions. That said, I also think it was symbolic that I was physically trying to run away from my problems. And also the fact that I was running on a treadmill, so I was trying to run away from my problems and not actually getting anywhere. So again, I don't regret doing that. I think it was what I needed to do in that time period. But I do think the symbolism of it was a little ironic. And I think at a certain point, I mean, I did lose a lot of weight in that time period. I probably got like the leanest I'd ever been. And I also was turning 40 at this time period. So I got into this obsession with, I have to be fit by 40. For some reason in my mind, it was like, oh my God, if I'm not in the best shape of my life by 40, then the rest of my life is going to be a mess. Like, I don't know what it was about that. And again, I think it probably had something to do with the fact that my whole life was falling apart at that time period. Yeah, I just got so obsessed with getting lean and fit by 40. And this was around the time that like the Fitbits and like the fitness trackers and stuff got really popular 5 years ago, because I'm 45 now. So the idea of like 10,000 steps a day was like a huge thing, which always makes me laugh at some of these skinny talk girls are acting as if like they invented the 10,000 steps a day thing. And it's like, no, this has been a thing for like the last decade now. Like, I started out with the 10,000 steps a day. I was up to 20,000 steps a day. And that's like literally the only way I could get the scale to move, was doing all this. And I was eating like almost nothing. Like, I don't even know how I was functioning. I was eating so little, carb free and everything and all this. And yes, the weight was coming off, but like working out was my whole life. I mean, that's all I did. I didn't have a social life. I didn't have, you know, a love life. I wasn't working on a career at that point. You know, I was creating online content at that point, but like I wasn't doing it consistently because I was sweaty all the time. Like, I was sweaty all the time. Like, that's what people don't realize about like when you have to work out all the time. It's like you're literally always sweaty and gross, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, you can shower, but like, especially as a woman, if you have long hair, it's like, I can't wash and dry my hair every single day. My God, like, that's work in itself. And then also, I was watching all the Fitspos. I was watching all the videos. I was looking for all the fitness tips. If somebody had a fitness tip, like do this or do that or whatever, like I did all the things. It was literally like my entire life became about trying to be the fittest I could possibly be. And yes, I did get into the best shape of my life. Ironically, for me, that was a size 6 or like 6'8", depending on the company or whatever, because I still got this going on. But it's ironic that like even with that, I was called plus sized on Instagram probably like at least once a day. And it was usually kind of like a, oh, you're so beautiful even though you're plus sized, like that kind of backhanded compliment. But like, so yeah, that's the irony of that situation. I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, my whole life was literally just about working out. I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I also kind of got to a point where I was like, I want to heal my food issues. I want to heal my relationship with food, which I'm going to do a separate video on. Healing my relationship with exercise as well had to happen. So when I actually kind of started healing my relationship with food, I made the decision, I say I stopped exercising, but I didn't really stop completely. I just was like, I'm not gonna push my workout. So I focused literally on more like stretching and gentle movement, and I did not do cardio at all. I kind of just like wiped the slate clean of all of my like fitness obsession. I stopped using my tracker, like I let it all go. I mean, I think I did that for like a good year, where I just did like gentle yoga, I just did stretching, like I didn't do anything else, which I got to admit, and I know some people are gonna look at me and be like, oh, that must have been nice, but like it wasn't. I did not like that. I wanted to push myself and I had to stop myself because I knew once I started going down that road, if I was like, ooh, let me just do a little bit of treadmill here, let me just do a little bit of weights here, I knew I would just get sucked right back into using that as my crutch, like using that as a go-to. And I had to take that off the table for a while to, for one, force myself to deal with my problems in other ways, but also so that it didn't start snowballing into, again, now I'm working out 4 times a day again. I did do that for a while. I think I really learned to listen to my body in that time period, which was really important. And I really learned to like tune in with what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and stop listening to all the fitness advice and all the everything. And I learned to listen to myself. And that was probably the greatest lesson in my experience, was I had to learn to listen to my body and stop listening to all the Fitspos, all of the fitness trainers and stuff. Now, bear in mind, when I was, I want to say 30 or so we're talking like 15 years ago, I got certified as a group fitness instructor. So, I mean, I have had training in fitness and things like that. Again, I taught dance classes for years. Again, I did it off and on throughout my life. And, you know, so I have fitness knowledge and fitness experience. And I also know like how easy it is to get certified to do these things. I didn't actually become a certified personal trainer, but I very easily could have. I actually got certified as a Zumba instructor. I didn't end up teaching Zumba, but I got certified as an instructor because I was going to teach, and then that didn't happen. But a lot of the people on here, even the people who are actual like trainers and stuff, honestly, even the medical people don't actually have a lot of like fitness training. So there's a lot of advice online, and some people know what they're talking about, some people don't know what they're talking about. Learning to tune into your body is the greatest gift you can give yourself. And it's been so healing for me to do that. Now I've gotten back into exercise. I've learned to incorporate exercise into my life again. And I do sometimes have to catch myself. I do sometimes have to be like, ooh, if I just did a little bit more, then I could get these results. But I've learned to catch myself, and I've also learned to listen to my body. That for me has been the greatest gift in my whole healing experience, is to learn to listen to my body and realize that nobody knows your body better than you do. I realize some of you may relate to some of the stuff I talked about, some of you might not. But whether you are exercise obsessed or whether you have a difficult time getting motivated to exercise, I want to give you some tips for finding the best workout routine for you and all the things that I have learned in this whole process. And one of the first things goes back to what I just said. You have to learn to listen to your body. You have to learn to listen to what feels good and what works for your body. There is so much stuff out there where everybody thinks that they have the answer. They have the magic pill. You need to do this. You have to do this exercise, or you have to do that exercise, or anything. First of all, working out, great for your health. Absolutely. The amount of exercise that you have to do to benefit you health-wise, not really that much, to be honest with you. Some of it is going to depend on your body, your genetics, your age, your goals. There's so many factors, but just being active enough to maintain a certain level of health, you don't have to spend hours in the gym. You don't have to do some kind of like crazy elaborate workout routine. Like, anybody that tells you you have to doesn't know what they're talking about. Honestly, just taking the time to move, I mean, I would say daily, that's really all you need to do to really kind of maintain your health as far as fitness goes. Obviously, a lot of other factors affect your health. I'm not going to get into those, but like just being active enough to positively influence your health does not take a huge amount of time or a huge elaborate workout routine. You do not have to dedicate your whole life to fitness in order to maintain a healthy level of exercise and a healthy level of activity. You can do more if you want, and obviously depending on what your goals are and depending on where you start and depending on a lot of other factors will determine how much exercise you kind of need to do. But please don't think that you have to do like hours a day or multiple workouts a day or something like that. I mean, unless it's something you want to do and you're motivated to do, or depending on what your goals are, like just for the average person, that's not necessary. And if you need to torture your body to get it to look a certain way, your body's not meant to look that way. It's just not. We're not all meant to look the same. And this idea that we need to like work out or anything to like all look like clones of each other is insane. We're not all meant to look the same. I'm gonna be honest with you, because a lot of people throw in the towel with exercise or give up on exercise or something. The theory is it's because they're just not motivated or they're just too lazy. If a workout routine does not fit into your life and you have to sacrifice things that are really important to you in your life in order to maintain this fitness program, it's not sustainable. It's not. Like, your fitness routine should work for you and work for your life. It's not gonna look the same for everyone. And anybody that tells you that like you have to do this fitness or this workout routine and that's the only answer, there's a million different ways to move your body. There's a million different ways to be active. I mean, obviously, like if you want big muscles, you gotta lift heavy, but not everybody has to have big muscles. Like, that's your choice if you wanna do that or you don't. You know, if you wanna be a runner, you gotta train to run. Like, if you want to be a runner, you gotta run. But then again, I could be a runner and I'm not gonna have a runner's body because, I mean, there's certain things anatomically that just aren't gonna change. But if you want to be a runner, you have to run. Not everybody has to be a runner, okay? Your workout routine should fit your lifestyle and your goals. And if you have to sacrifice things in your life that are super important to you to fit your workout or fit your fitness plan, you're not gonna maintain it. And it's not because you're not disciplined enough, it's because your workout doesn't work for your lifestyle. And you should be catering your workout to your lifestyle, not catering your lifestyle to your workout. Look at your life. Look at the things in your life. Look at your priorities. Look at the things that are important to you. Probably a lot of us are doing things in our life just on autopilot that we don't really want. Some of them are maybe negative habits or something. I mean, if you, I don't know, say for example, you have a habit of like zoning out in front of, you know, the TV and just like marathoning through a show and you don't really even enjoy it, you don't really like it, but you're like, I started it, I guess I should have to finish it or whatever. If you're not really getting joy out of it, then don't do it. If you have like, I don't know, maybe you have like a standing date with friends, but they're friends that are just like draining you and you hate meeting with them and they're just eating junk food and this and that and you just really despise doing it, maybe you might need to cut that out of your life. Like, if that's not really adding to your life positively, and maybe you could fill that space with something that is healthier, something that is bringing joy to your life. However, if you're like get together with your friends, like maybe you have a weekly thing where you and your friends get together and maybe you have drinks or maybe you know, maybe you eat junk food or whatever. I'm not a junk food fan, but maybe you do, whatever. And that truly sparks joy in your life. A fitness program that inhibits you from doing that, you're not gonna stick with because you're literally eliminating something from your life that brings you true joy and happiness just to work out. And you're gonna end up resenting your workouts because it's taking things out of your life that bring you joy. Your workouts should help support your life, help support your dream life. If your dream is to run a marathon one day, train to run a marathon. If you never intend to run a marathon and you hate running and running is like literally like takes away part of your soul, don't run. It's about finding the activity that you truly love and that truly brings you joy. I remember like when I first kind of started going to a gym years ago, it was when like the spinning craze was like huge, you know, with the like cycling and stuff on the bike. And then I think Soul Cycle is the same thing. I don't know if spinning and Soul Cycle are the same kind of thing. I don't know, but like the idea of like being strapped to a bike and like doing these like virtual like things or whatever. Some people love that. I know people that are obsessed with that, like the Peloton thing got really popular and everything. Some people love that. I tried that. I never did Soul Cycle, but I tried spinning. I hated it. I hated going to class. I hated the way that the bike was structured and I had to buy these like hideous padded shorts. Like, this is before like I think they made like cute padded shorts because they gave you a butt or something, but I had to buy these like hideously like padded bike shorts that were awful because like if I sat on the bike my sit bones would get like almost like bruises on them because I don't have much going on back there, so I don't have a lot of cushion to support me naturally. Like, it was awful. Like, I hated spinning class. I dreaded it. Finally, I was like, I'm not doing this. And people would tell me, oh, it's the greatest workout. You burn so many calories. It's the greatest workout in the world. I'm like, but I hate doing it. I dread going. But like, you put me in like a dance class or something, I go all night. Like, I could literally take a dance class for hours. I loved dance and movement and stuff. Like, I loved that. So I just don't do spin classes. Like, being strapped to a bike just does not bring me joy. If it brings you joy, great. Love you for that. Some people hate being in dance classes because they feel totally uncoordinated and it's not their thing and they don't like learning steps and they don't like. If you hate that, don't do it. Find the activity and the exercise that truly brings you joy. As I say that, are there gonna be some days when you wake up or, you know, it comes to be time to do your workout or something like that and you just don't wanna do it? Yeah, probably gonna happen. And I think that is an invitation to tune into your body. Why don't I wanna do this? Is it maybe because of where I am in my menstrual cycle, and I'll get into that in a minute? Or is it because I really like need a recovery day? Is it because like I'm feeling sore and I need to rest? Or am I just being lazy and I just need to like kick my own butt and just be like, go ahead and do it? And that's where it's important to tune into your body. It's okay to have a day where you're like, you know what, I just don't want to work out today. If you're constantly feeling like I just don't want to work out today, you probably are doing a workout you don't really like. Now that said, should a workout be challenging? Yes. If you're doing a workout that feels really super easy and it's just like almost boring to you, or you're not feeling challenged at all or anything, then you're probably not going to get any results. Like a workout should feel like a little bit of a challenge at least. But that said, if you really hate doing it like all the time and you're constantly having to push yourself, do something else. There are so many workouts out there. Do something that does get you excited. And maybe you need to try something new. I'm not a huge fan of workout trends because I often feel like they sell you on a lot of false promises. But you know what? Sometimes it's an opportunity to try something new that you might not have done before and see if you like it. If you do like it, go for it. If not, don't. I mean, for me, I know it was a few years back when like the CrossFit trend was like huge and everybody was doing CrossFit. And for some reason, like I was just like, I was tempted because so many people were having like results from it. But at a certain point I was like, this doesn't feel good to me, so I didn't do it. And that's fine. I spent so much time doing workouts that everybody told me were like the thing to do. And for me now in my life, it's like, I still want to work out. I love working out. I love waking up in the morning and being like, I get to do a workout today, and I love that. But it's because I do the things that feel good to me, and I stop trying to force myself to do the things that everybody else is telling me are like the thing to do. Right now in my life, I do Pilates and ballet, and then I walk on the treadmill. That's my workout routine right now, and it feels really good. I'm excited to get up, and I'm excited to do that. You know, next year might change, who knows? But right now, I'm doing what feels really good to me. And at the end of the day, as long as I'm being active, that's all I can ask for. I also would highly encourage you to stop having fitness goals that are aesthetic and focus on like non-aesthetic fitness goals. One of the reasons why I kind of got away from lifting as much is because it was really hard for me to separate like, ooh, how does my butt look in the mirror? How does it, like, it was really difficult for me to separate the aesthetic goals and just focus on achievements in actually my activity and my progress in my fitness. For some people, they can separate that. I mean, I do know that like sometimes it's like, ooh, I'm lifting this weight and like this was hard for me a month ago, but now this is like easy and now I can increase the weight, and I totally get that. You know, that is a good feeling. For me, it was just really hard to separate constantly checking on my body and seeing how it looks and seeing the progress. So I kind of moved away from that. And for me, I moved into doing more like dance because I could be like, ooh, okay, can I do this move as well this week as I did last week and stuff? Like for me, it was just a little bit healthier. Like, or, you know, for me doing Pilates, it's like, oh, I tried this core exercise and this was really hard for me last week, but it's easy for me this week. And like, it's easier for me to track progress in like fitness goals as opposed to aesthetic goals in certain areas. It might be different for you. For some people, Pilates might be an obsession with my abs look or something like that. And maybe lifting might be something that is more, you know, something that you can focus more on the improvements in your strength as opposed to the aesthetics. It's gonna vary from person to person. Honor what works for you. But I highly recommend that you focus more on like your fitness achievements and your improvements in things that are more like physical fitness based as opposed to aesthetic based. And again, I know there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, I should be able to work out and I should be able to want to look a certain way, and you can, absolutely. I'm not telling you not to. However, it is so much better for your mental health to focus on achievements that aren't based in your physical appearance. It's a healthier way to approach exercise. I'm just gonna say, if you're focused on like physical achievement goals, like how flat is my stomach or how does my butt look, or if you're focused on that, it will never be enough. It will literally never be enough. It is a bottomless pit. You are searching for happiness in a place that will never fully satisfy you, because the scale is never going to be a low enough number. Your body fat percentage is never going to be low enough. Your butt is never going to be round enough. Your abs are never going to be visible enough. Like, chasing those things, it can bring you to some really, really dark places, and you're searching for happiness and satisfaction in the wrong things. If you're searching for happiness in like weight loss, for example, you're gonna keep looking for it and keep looking for it, and you're never gonna find it there. It's because it's not there. It's not. And again, I know there's gonna be people, oh, I feel better when I'm thinner. Fine. That's fine. If you're searching for your happiness there, it's never going to be enough, because that's not where your happiness is. It's not on a scale. It's not in the numbers on a scale. Oh, it's such a slippery slope when you start searching for happiness there. So again, find a fitness routine that actually brings you joy, that makes you excited to do it, that like feels good. It can feel like a challenge. I don't think that you have to show up and automatically know what you're doing, because if you show up and know what you're doing already, then there's nowhere to improve. But show up and do the thing that you love. And if you hate your workout all the time, it's not the workout for you. And if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, if you're having to sacrifice things in your life that are truly important to you because you got to do a workout or you got to do this, like the skinny talk girls that are so obsessed with this like 10,000 steps a day thing, like I'm not trying to discourage you. If that motivates you, if that's what you want to do, fine. Like it's not a bad thing to do. But first of all, the 10,000 steps a day thing was an arbitrary number that somebody just made up because they wanted to sell fitness trackers, because walking is relatively free and they got to make money off it somehow. I mean, you could just as easily like time yourself and walk for a certain amount of time or walk for a certain amount of distance or something. The idea that you have to like track your steps is a marketing technique. It is completely. But hey, if that motivates you, fine. The thing that you have to remember is, first of all, the 10,000 steps it's an arbitrary number, and whether or not you actually lose weight doing it is going to depend on things like diet, nutrition, genetics, things like that. 10,000 steps a day is not a magic number that's automatically going to make you lose weight. If you are losing weight on 10,000 steps a day, it's probably because you were very inactive before, and the 10,000 steps is an improvement, so you are getting more activity. And again, not a bad thing, but one thing that you have to keep in mind is eventually your body is going to get used to those 10,000 steps and it's going to plateau. You're going to hit a plateau where you're not going to see any improvements because your body is used to that. You're going to have to keep doing the 10,000 steps a day, which takes up more of your time than people realize. I don't think people realize like how much time that actually does take out of your day to do the 10,000 steps. Not saying it's not valuable time, but I'm just saying not everybody has the time to do that, like depending on your lifestyle. But those 10,000 steps will eventually not be enough for you to make more improvements, and eventually you're gonna have to do more. Again, I was up to 20,000 steps a day just to see any movement on the scale. And that was a huge chunk of time and a huge chunk of my life that it was taking up. And you're gonna have to keep increasing because your body gets used to, when it comes to cardio and stuff, your body gets used to a certain amount, and then you have to keep doing that amount to maintain your weight, but you're gonna have to keep doing more if you want the scale to go lower. So, you know, again, I'm not discouraging you from doing the 10,000 steps. If you're motivated to do that and that's, you know, something you wanna do and you wanna go for a walk and whatever, fine. You don't need a fitness tracker to walk. You don't need to track your steps to walk. You can easily do it with time or distance or something like that. So just go for a walk, enjoy yourself, be in nature, or if that's not an option depending on your climate, your neighborhood or whatever, treadmill, walking pad, go to the gym, something. Walking can be great, not discouraging anyone from doing it. It's not a magic formula, it's just a workout. Workouts are good, but they're not a magic pill that's going to solve all your problems. And eventually your body's going to get used to that and you're going to have to do more. And you're going to have to ask yourself how much of your life you're willing to sacrifice to continue to constantly be doing these workouts and doing these workouts. And as someone who, again, literally was working out for like, you know, 4 or 5 hours a day at some points in my life, it's a sacrifice. It's sacrificing a huge chunk of your life. And I gotta be honest, like I look back on my life and there's so many things in my life that I didn't do, didn't achieve. I mean, I'm not saying that the exercises I was doing in the time I spent dedicated to fitness were a waste by any means, but like I missed out on a lot of stuff. I missed out on a lot of like socializing, a lot of career things, you know, that I could have been doing. I could have a lot more money in my bank account. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things in my life I sacrificed in the name of fitness and just trying to be skinny, and you know, getting myself there didn't solve my other problems. I'll say this in probably every video that I make from now on, but like, losing weight will not solve all your problems. It can solve some, but it's not going to solve all your problems. And I'm not saying this to discourage anybody from getting healthy. Get healthy for sure, but please don't expect it to solve all your problems, because when you get to the weight that you think will solve all your problems and you realize that all your problems aren't solved, you're going to get discouraged and you're probably going to throw in the towel and gain the weight back. Or you're going to desperately try to lose more weight because you're going to think, well, that will solve all my problems. And that's when you usually end up in some pretty dangerous behavior and disordered eating and things like that. I'm also going to touch on, because I feel like I have a video about this on my channel. If I don't, I'll make one. I'm going to touch on this for all the women watching, for all the women that still have their menstrual cycles and things like that. Work with your menstrual cycle, not against it. If you are on your period, you're bleeding, that's when you want to prioritize rest. You don't have to be completely inactive. Some people say like never exercise while you're bleeding. I don't necessarily think that that is like a guarantee. The first day of your menstrual cycle, probably a good day for rest, stretching, take care of your body, listen to your body. Some people might find that doing gentle exercises helps with cramps and things like that, but like pushing yourself really hardcore on days in your menstrual cycle when your body is begging you for a rest, it's counterintuitive. So usually during ovulation time, you're gonna have the most energy. Not universal, obviously, but for most women, you're gonna have the most energy. When you're actually in your menstrual phase where you're bleeding, that's usually when you're gonna have the least amount of energy. And work with that. Now, you don't necessarily have to like not work out during your menstrual phase and like only work out during ovulation and things like that. Like, I think some people take it to the extreme, but at the end of the day, it's super important, especially as a woman, to like listen to your body. Is your body telling you you need a rest? Is your body telling you that you need to take things easier? I fought this for so many years and I wish I hadn't. You can't show up at every single day in your cycle expecting to achieve the same things or have the same progress. You have to give yourself a lot more grace. You can still show up for a workout in your menstrual phase if you want, but please know that like if your body is telling you to not push as hard, don't try to override that and be like, no, I'm gonna power through. Save that for phases like your ovulation and stuff when like your body can handle pushing it harder. You don't have to like not show up. If you're like in your menstrual phase and maybe you're trying to lift or maybe you're trying to do a run or doing something and your body is just like not doing what you're trying to get it to do or what it normally can do, just know that the fact that you even showed up is probably enough, and you don't have to push yourself as hard in that phase, because there's going to be so many other phases in your cycle where you're going to be able to push yourself maybe even harder. Working with your menstrual cycle as a woman is like probably the best gift you could ever give yourself. Like, it is absolutely the best thing that you can do. Work with your cycle, and I realize for some of us that's harder than others depending on our schedules and things like that, but honestly, working with your cycle instead of against it is just an absolute game changer. If you're in your menstrual phase and you're like, I just literally cannot get out of bed, maybe your body just needs to rest. Honestly, tuning out all the noise, all the things that everyone's telling you about what you should do, what you have to do. You see some of these fitness people online that are, you know, like criticizing this workout and glorifying this workout and whatever. Like, honestly, move your body. Move your body and do the workout that you're excited to do. You're excited to go to Zumba, but you hate kickboxing. Do Zumba and don't force yourself to go kickboxing. Like, if you love Pilates and you hate lifting weights, do Pilates and don't lift weights. If you love lifting weights and the idea of doing Pilates makes you cringe, then lift weights and don't do Pilates. Like, maybe trying some kind of like new hobby or something that's just really active. Adding hobbies into your life that are things you really enjoy but involve physical activity, whether it be taking a dance class or gardening is something I've gotten into lately that's been just like adding some more activity through my day, because it's, you're doing something and you're doing a physical activity, but you're not necessarily like timing yourself, or you're not necessarily looking at how many reps you can do. Like, you can let your mind kind of trail off. I will say, because I don't love doing cardio, going for walks for me in my neighborhood is a little tricky. So I tend to walk on the treadmill. I have a treadmill at home, so I tend to do that. I don't necessarily love getting on the treadmill and walking on the treadmill because it tends to be repetitive. Because I'm at home, sometimes I can watch like a show if I want to, or just listen to music and whatever. Some days I'm more motivated than others, but I do know I always feel good that day if I do that. Like, it really does help me in so many other ways. So sometimes even when it's hard for me to like get motivated to do it, when I know that my body is gonna feel good the rest of the day, it's more motivating, because I'm like, okay, well, I get to do this now. I do this for like a half hour now, and maybe it'll be a little bit boring, but like for the rest of the day I'm gonna feel good, and like that helps me some days. I also find though, if you are in a position where you're doing kind of like mindless cardio, it's a great opportunity to manifest. It's a great opportunity to like think about the things you want to manifest, and like sometimes I'll put on music that gets me like my mind wandering, and it's like great like daydreaming time. I love daydreaming time, so like why not do it like on the treadmill, or you know, if you prefer to use a bike, or, you know, whatever, something like that. That can be a great time to manifest. And sometimes I actually get excited because I'm like, ooh, I get to like daydream right now. Like, that's kind of my thing. I like home workouts. I like working out at home. I don't like having to like get in my car and drive someplace. I don't like having like a set schedule. Like, I'm better with self-discipline, so I like knowing I'm gonna do my workout at like this time today, but like if I have to move it to a different time because of my schedule, I'll move it to a different time. And like, I like doing home workouts, and I have a lot of self-discipline to the point where I can fit in a workout every day and not need the commitment of like scheduled time. In fact, if I actually have like a class I have to go to, or some kind of like a scheduled workout session or something that I have to go to, like, I tend to kind of resent it. That's more my personality. But for some people, you might need the socialization of a class. You might need the commitment of knowing that you like paid for this class at this time and you have to go and whatever. If that motivates you, great. If it doesn't motivate you, and you're motivated to work out just on your own, for me, like, I resent when I have those like scheduled workouts where I'm like required to do it at this time. I like my home workouts where I'm like, okay, I can work out in the morning if that fits my schedule, but I can also just work out in the evening if that fits my schedule, and I know I can move it around. Like, I know I'll do it because I'm motivated to do it, because I actually enjoy doing it. So I don't need that scheduled time or like to meet with that person. I don't really like socializing, so I don't like to have to join a class or something like that. But if that motivates you, great. It's knowing yourself and what motivates you to actually get off your butt and do the workout and doing the things that you love. Maybe you need to try a lot of different things, a lot of different activities to see what gets you excited. And what gets you excited now might be different than what got you excited before, or what might get you excited in the future. And like, learning to listen to your body is the way to do it. And I have a video talking about masculine, feminine energies in workouts. You don't have to use your workouts to connect to your feminine energy. I know it's kind of like a trend online right now, but I think the best workout is actually whatever workout you're gonna do and whatever you're motivated to do. But I do have a video talking about workouts and masculine energy and feminine energy in workouts if you want to check that out for some more ideas about what workouts might work for you. I also have videos about kind of weight and weight loss as a masculine shield. For some people, like, they feel like they have to lift weights or do a certain workout because they're trying to protect themselves. Sometimes that can be a positive thing, sometimes it might not be. So again, working on those things and just really learning to tune into your body. That's honestly the most feminine thing you can do. Like, people talk about Pilates is feminine, or this is feminine, or this is more masculine, or whatever. The most feminine thing that you can do is to tune into your body and listen to your body, tune out all the excess noise. Like, learn to tune out the noise, actually listen to your body, and because your body has all the answers. Your body has all the answers. That's part of being a feminine being, is knowing that you have the wisdom within you. You just need to listen to it. And sometimes you got to tune out all the excess noise in order to learn to listen to what's in your body and what your body is telling you. That for me was the biggest part of my healing journey, was to just tune out all the things that people were telling me that I had to do. You have to do this workout, you have to do this, and you have to do that. And the next thing you know, you're like adding all these different things and you're doing all this stuff, and your whole life is a workout. And then eventually you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna realize that you're missing out on so much of your life because you're just spending all of your time working out, and you're gonna throw in the towel and you're gonna be like, oh, to hell with it, I'm not gonna do it anymore. The way to find a sustainable workout routine is to make sure it works with your life, it works with your body, something that you're excited to do, something that challenges you but isn't making you like utterly miserable to do. And just learn to enjoy it. Learn to enjoy your life. Like, health and fitness and being active and stuff should add to your life. It shouldn't be taking away from your life. Because at the end of the day, if you're working out to be healthier, to live a longer life, why would you want to live a longer life if you're doing it miserably? These were some tips. I want to do some more videos on body image and health and things like that. Again, I want everybody to be healthy and active, but I want it to work with your life and not against your life. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure you subscribe to my channel. If you have any thoughts on the topics in this video or any other video topics you want me to talk about, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And honestly, like, any engagement on this channel actually really does help to boost it in the algorithm so more people can get this message. If you want to do more healing work, I actually have my guided journals available on Amazon, as well as some courses and master classes. Links are in the description box, along with links to all my social media accounts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.